What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is AkeemHaynes. I'm a two-time Olympian, Olympic bronze medalist, author, motivational speaker, and sports commentator. On my channel, we talk boxing, MMA, track and field, and of course, motivation and encouraging content. If this is something that you enjoy, then I hope that you subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into the video. Oleksandr Usyk and Anthony Joshua, the post-fight recap. What did we think about this fight? This was a much better performance from Anthony Joshua, right? I thought for the first 9 rounds, it was competitive. I thought he came into this fight looking way more focused, way more confident, way more belief in himself. For the first 9 rounds, I thought it was competitive. Then from 10 to 12, I thought that's when Oleksandr Usyk shined the most. I thought Anthony Joshua was putting together some good combinations. I thought he was using the jab well. I thought he was doing a decent job of protecting himself from the angles that he was getting hit from. I thought that he put a much better performance together. He was hitting the body a lot more. He hurt Usyk to the body. I thought this was a better performance from Anthony Joshua. I thought for 9 rounds, he trusted what Robert Garcia, what they were doing inside of training camp. I thought he trusted that for 9 rounds. And then when things was not going his way, going into the later championship rounds, he reverted back to his old ways. That's usually what happens when you are in a point of adversity, when you're at a point where you don't know necessarily what to do, or you feel the momentum swinging and changing. You revert back to what you know. You revert back to your old ways. And that is what I saw Anthony Joshua did. Oleksandr Usyk, the movement that he continued to show, the footwork that he continued to display, the poise, the confidence, the belief in himself and his ability as he did in the first fight. To me, this was a continuation of that first fight. This was round 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. This was what Oleksandr Usyk does. The movement, the constant head movement, the shoulders, the footwork, the body, the angles, every single thing that Oleksandr Usyk did was calculated. And yes, he did take some shots. And I have to say, he's got a chin on him because AJ hit him with some clean flush shots, but he hit AJ with some clean flush shots as well, too. I got to give a shout out to Anthony Joshua for that because I didn't believe he had a chin like that. But I think in this fight, what actually helped Anthony Joshua the most was the will and the heart and the desire and the determination. That is what helped kept him up. But Oleksandr Usyk continued to show why he is just an all-around better boxer than Anthony Joshua. You look at the fight and there's probably chances where you were saying, man, AJ, you're going to do it, man. AJ, you almost had it. And he almost did. Or so it seemed. In my opinion, if this fight was to happen 10 times over, 9 times out of 10, Oleksandr Usyk would still get the same result. I thought AJ showed a lot of heart, right? But I also knew at some point in the fight that he would get tired, right? I knew at some point that his conditioning would go back to what the normal AJ that we know. While you see Oleksandr Usyk look like he could have went another 6 more rounds. He knows how to distribute what he needs at a certain point without overextending himself and having enough to go the next round with the same consistency and momentum. Oleksandr Usyk is one of the best that we have seen. His style is different. Yes, he doesn't have that one knockout shot. He overpowers you with flurries of consistent shots that wears you down. And every single round, imagine trying to keep that same pace against him every single round, trying to cut off the ring, trying to keep up with him. And you tire yourself out thinking that you're about to get him and you're about to get him in a position where you can be dominant. But then he continues motoring. And he continues moving, and he continues the angles, and he continues the pace, and that is what makes him special. That is what makes him a special heavyweight, because the way how he moves, the way how he's constantly knowing which angles to take, how he knows where to find the openings, how he knows how to get his own shots, how he knows what to do at the right time, ring IQ, ring generalship, whatever you want to call it. You watch the fight and it's poetry in motion, how he maneuvers around the ring. It was a beautiful fight. I want to touch on the post-fight interviews, and just listening to Anthony Joshua, I turned up the volume and a lot of people were saying, man, he's lost it. Like, what is this guy doing? And to be honest, like, I understand that frustration. I understand what he was trying to get across, right? He was trying to show his story, because no matter what people say, no matter what he thinks, no matter what anybody says, when you hear something enough times, you start to believe and you start to hear some of the things that people were saying, and it creeps in your mind and you feel the need to defend yourself. And that's what he was doing. He was in his right state of mind. He was just emotional. I think part of him was a little bit shook because he felt like he did enough in training to be able to beat Oleksandr Usyk. I was reading some of the comments and some of the stuff on social media that people were saying that Robert Garcia was saying the same thing that his last trainer was saying, even though it wasn't true. I'd have to watch it again to get that full take. But, you know, it's one of those situations where there was a lot of pressure on AJ. There was a lot of pressure on Usyk, but there was a lot of pressure on AJ. And this was a tall task, trying to beat a man with a new trainer, trying to beat a man that already beat you before, trying to beat a man who many people didn't think that you could. And I thought AJ fought extremely well. But Oleksandr Usyk is just an all-around better boxer than AJ. And that's just the reality of what it is. It doesn't mean that AJ is not going to continue to have good fights. He's always going to sell out a crowd. But when it comes to the heavyweight champion of the world, unless Oleksandr Usyk relinquishes those belts, I don't see AJ capturing those titles anytime soon. So the question is, who do we want to see Usyk fight next? We all know it's Tyson Fury. But is that going to happen? He says he's not retired. I guess we'll see. I don't really feed too much into the media and what people say until we see the contract. Who would you like to see him face next, if not Tyson Fury? But let's also talk about Anthony Joshua. What's next for Anthony Joshua? What do you think about that? No, I want to know. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about Anthony Joshua? Who would you like to see him fight next? What do you think is next for him? And if he comes back, will he ever be the same again? Will he ever be that same guy that we know? That same confident guy? Will he be the same again? Because now he's lost 3 times in his career, twice to the same man. That does a lot on a person. And I was watching the post-fight interview and it made me think of this moment. Can I share something with you real quick? In 2015, I think it was, I was running in this meet and this meet was stacked. It had 7 of the top fastest 100-meter times of that year, right? And I remember going into that race and I remember feeling confident. I was feeling good. Training was going well. And I felt like I was ready to run fast this day. And so the race started. And I remember when we crossed the finish line, I was looking up at the scoreboard, right? I ran one of my fastest times I'd ever ran. I ran 10:06, one of the fastest times I have ever ran. And I remember looking up at the clock and I realized that, wait a minute, my fastest time got me 6th place. There was 5 other people who ran faster than me. And that was my fastest time. My fastest time I have ever ran in my life got me 6th. And I remember I was going on the plane and I was thinking to myself, wait a minute. I ran my fastest time I've ever ran and it wasn't good enough. And I shared that story in that illustration because I felt like that is what we saw in that interview when the reporter was asking AJ, are you proud of yourself? He might have been thinking to himself, wow, I gave my all twice. I thought I made improvements. I thought I gave every single ounce I could to try to win this fight, and it wasn't good enough. And that does something to a person. But I want to know, what were your thoughts on this fight? Did anything surprise you? How did you have it going? Let me know in the comment section below. Who would you like to see Oleksandr Usyk fight next? What happens to AJ? Who would you like to see him step in the ring next with? Let me know in the comments section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways that you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly, greatly appreciated. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, then do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.